Okay.
That was intense.
What are you thinking?
I'm not gonna lie. At one of the parts that we paused it, when we were looking up what age he's actually supposed to be in the movie, I saw this little sneak on Wikipedia, and it actually broke down why... Oh, what's the woman's name? What's the character's name? Judy. Judy in the film. Why her dad actually didn't like her. Like, on Wikipedia, it actually broke down, like, how she was mentioning that she didn't have a good relationship with her dad. Her dad was, like, telling her to wear better clothes. So she went full on, like, trampy for, like, the 50s. Yeah. And that's when her dad called her a tramp. Mm-hmm. Supposedly trampy. I mean, you saw the way she was dressed. She looked, like, completely fine.
Yeah, but after he slapped her that time, like, and she ran away, he felt bad. You could tell he was, like...
Well, I mean, the dad saying, like, you're too old to, like, for kisses or whatever. Like, what happened to the dad? Like, that's weird.
Because, like, her parents were more standoffish, but she wanted more love from them. Whereas his parents, obviously, his mum was kind of domineering and his dad was a bit of a coward. And he wanted them to be more, like, normal.
Well, he wanted his dad to finally stand up on his own 2 freaking feet. Mm-hmm. And so you could tell that's why he's, like, such a rebel, because he said, even to the policeman in the beginning, he wants to be nothing like his dad.
Yeah, exactly. What were your favorite parts of the movie?
I think one of my favorite parts that was funny, like, basically at the peak of the movie before it went too far downhill, because let's be honest, the moment this movie started, it was downhill. Like, the guy was already in freaking, like, the police station.
Like, it started out, like, really charming, like, it was, like, putting the toy monkey to bed. That was kind of foreshadowing, because he was taking care of it. Like, he was taking care of the psycho kid, you know?
Right. But yeah, like, that was, like, the whole thing, because when we first started the movie, he was drunk. He was sleeping in the street, which is a very adult thing to do, first of all. And so in the movie, like, when he's doing that, it, like, you're, like, wondering, what the heck kind of age is he? Like, what is this, Grease? How old are these teenagers? You know, like...
Yeah. He's playing a 17-year-old, but then
in real life.
So you get the idea that, like, he's kind of like
And this was the second movie before he died. Mm. You mentioned Giants was his last movie.
I'm just thinking about his character. Like, he's kind of torn up. He's...
Torn up after what, sorry?
Just emotionally.
In the beginning?
Yeah, like, in general.
Well, I mean, he has to deal with, like, the scrutiny of seeing his dad literally in a maid outfit. Degrading himself on the floor, saying, oh, I can't let your mother see that I spilled the food.
Yeah.
Like, from a normal human's point of view, literally looking down at his dad on the ground, saying, Dad, get up. Especially, I mean, you look at the end, towards the end, he's like, Dad, stand up for me.
Yeah.
And that had me choked up, because it's not like it gave us, like, a hint of, like, his dad thinking about whether he wanted to get up. His dad literally looked like, no, I'm not getting up. He was, like, head bent over, hands in the hair, because he was upset because he was going to make his son sad. And then, at the ending, when he was like, I'll stand up with you.
It's like this is what had to happen for you to finally do that.
At the end of the day, it didn't take his dad going through something. It took seeing his son go through something extreme like that.
Like, 2 people are dead now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of because his dad wouldn't stand up for himself. Remember when he was away to do the thing in the car?
What? Who?
Jim?
He
was saying it was a matter of honour. He had to...
Yes.
And he was asking his dad, he was like, what would you do? And his dad wouldn't give him a straight answer. His dad was, like, beating around the bush.
Well, he said, I wouldn't be hasty. I mean, he's right.
He was right, but...
Like, that's the thing. As a young person, you go off of instincts. You think, and you go off of impulse, sorry, not instinct. And you do a lot of things. And his dad was saying, I wouldn't be hasty. His dad understood that, like, towards the middle point, when he was having that argument with his parents on the stairs, he was telling his dad, he was like, oh, they call me chicken.
Yeah.
You know, you could totally tell that in the beginning of the movie, when he was talking in the police station about that same thing, his dad was like, we had to move him again because he was called chicken.
Thing, yeah.
You know, it was really cool to finally see the OG statement of that. A lot of the movies today take that quote, like, don't call me chicken. You know,
Yeah.
He called me chicken. You know, like, and to finally see where that came from
I thought the acting was really good in this movie. They're obviously like adults acting like teenagers, but it felt like you were a bit of a fly in the wall sometimes, the way they were behaving. Like, really good chemistry. But then, one thing I will say is, like, sometimes it seemed very, like, kind of obscure because something really serious would happen and then they would have some weird romantic moment. Or, like, some weird smile or something. It was weird. Like, Judy's boyfriend just died and then she's, like, falling in love with Jim all of a sudden. On the same night. And it's like, I'm in love with you, and it's like, you just met that morning.
I know people, like, that have grown up with parents that are just like that. What they typically do is, you've got a daughter here who is not getting attention at home. She flings herself on the first person that she's able to form an attachment to, okay? That's number one. That's the number one thing she's looking for. Number two, she's looking to be a rebel because it is the only thing that actually gets her dad's attention. So what does she do? She flings herself on the most rebel guy in school, right? And
Buzz, that's his name, Buzz.
Exactly. But Buzz, she would give Buzz kisses and stuff like that. But you never saw Buzz reciprocating that. He was treating her like some kind of trophy.
Like, he seemed bored. Like, he just wanted to, like, have a good time.
And the only thing he actually cared about, the only time he actually cared about her was when some other guy was looking at her legs. Yeah. Remember when Jim was looking at her legs?
I don't know if he was looking at her legs.
He was, and that's why
he was looking at his white wall tires. Because then
No, because he's cared about her that whole movie from the beginning. He was looking at her legs, and that's why he flicked out his knife, bent down towards her legs, and stabbed the tire. And you could see, as soon as he flicked... I don't know if anybody else saw it, but, like, he flicked out the knife, and as soon as he did that, she, like, looked like, holy crap. Like, what's about to happen? But then she kind of, like, regained composure. You know, like...
like, she was one of the... She was one of the, like,
one of the dirtbags.
The bully kids.
Until she saw her knight in shining armor, who was both rebel and emotional. Yeah. You know? He's, like, literally the perfect rebel for her because he's able to show emotion and not think it's a weakness, like his dad and his mom.
So why do you think it's called Rebel Without a Cause?
Ooh, do you think it's Rebel Without a Cause like the kid? Or do you think it's Rebel Without a Cause him?
I think it's him. I think it's similar to what you're talking about. I think it's like...
Or is it all of them? All of them are rebels without a cause.
Yeah, so like the overarching thing in the movie is that all these characters are not behaving normally. Like they're all kind of psychologically messed up. For different reasons.
Like, can I tell you that it was like almost really creepy when they were outside the police station at the end. And the guys that were about to jump him were like, no, I got a plan. Go out. They go to a radio tower. They have somebody play this weird, like, just absolutely normal melody, like, Under the Sea or something. You know, like, not Under the Sea, sorry.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Like, that ballad or, you know, 50s ballad or whatever.
And they dedicated it to...
Jim from Buzz.
The dead guy.
Now, if it was more silent and it took more of an Alfred Hitchcock take on that and creepier and all of a sudden you hear that come on.
Yeah.
But because of the way they did in this movie, it was kind of like, really? Like, a 50s song? Like,
yeah.
That was their time. Like, that was their thing of getting back. But it was really cool when his friend said then, that's them. They're coming for you. They'll be coming for you.
Yeah, like, there was a lot of really cool lines in this movie. Like,
yeah.
But I would say they're pretty quotable. Like, you're tearing me apart. That was at the start when his parents are going at each other. And he's just like, you're tearing me apart. Like, James Dean's character in particular has a lot of, like, really good lines in this movie.
I'm not gonna lie. This is completely not what I expected from James Dean.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
Like, I thought he was gonna be this amazing sex symbol. Because that's what everybody portrays him as. The male Marilyn Monroe.
Like, it was very, like... charming and kind of cool, I thought. But then he's also playing a 17-year-old.
Well, I mean...
So it was kind of a bit like...
Well, that's the thing. In the beginning, you're still developing, like, who this character is. And the guy comes off as a loser in the beginning. Because he's drunk.
No, I thought he was pretty endearing. Like, he was funny.
I still didn't, like, I'm thinking of before he talked to the policeman.
Yeah, okay.
Like, when you're still developing an understanding of him, like, he comes off as this loosey, snotty kind of person who's drunk in a police station and being sloppy, you know? And I was not expecting that from James Dean in the beginning. especially with that being the time period as well, I wasn't expecting him to be so emotional.
Yeah, like, I think that's another thing I was going to ask. Do you think the movie's really well thought of because, like, what it is, or because he died, like, shortly after? Because I think the movie is very modern in a way. Like the way he feels, and the kind of themes throughout the movie. I've not seen a lot of that in older movies.
Yeah. Like, typically, it's like a lot of the times it's kind of seen as bad. Like, the guy has to be like the male and strong hero.
And it addresses that stuff. It's like...
He does seem very human in the movie.
Yeah, like, the characters are very human. That's a good word.
Yeah. Back to my favorite moment that I keep getting away from is when he's sitting there, his friend, Plato. Yeah, Plato's... Plato Crawford, yeah. So, Plato's standing there talking to Judy. And he's like, he's my best friend. He's my best friend, yeah. You know...
He's really quiet.
His closest friends call him Jamie. That was, like, the epitome, I feel, of their relationship. Because, obviously, he's psychotic.
Like, the weird thing, like, the very first thing you learn about him is, like, why did you shoot those puppies? Yeah. And then, like, throughout the movie, you want him to succeed. It's weird.
He was abandoned as a kid, right?
Yeah.
He talks about being, like, he has memories of his parents in a crib. And it was his birthday when he did that. I think he was upset at, like, puppies because puppies were babies and he was abandoned as a baby. So he shot the puppies. And I think that's honestly because it was his birthday and he was so triggered by it. It was a very psychotic day. My goodness.
Like, this all takes place in one day.
Was that all in one day?
That was all in one day.
That was all in one day. That was all in one day. That was all in one day.
So what's the moral of the story? The moral is not to be like his dad, not to be bossed around.
That's the moral of everything in this story?
No, not to be bossed around, not to push your feelings down inside. Like, express yourself and say what's on your mind and live life.
I think live life.
I want to watch it again.
I think a couple things are the moral of the story.
Okay.
Number one, parents listen to your children.
Yes.
And number two,
yeah.
teach your children how to communicate effectively.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Thank you.
I thought there was some really cool shots in the movie. Like, the camera would turn, like...
It did, yeah.
And weird dramatic moments, it would, like, twist.
Just a little bit, and only in a couple moments. Like, for example, when he was looking at his mother upside down, and then when he was on the staircase and his mother started talking, it slightly tilted. And that was probably making the audience feel the unhingedness
Yeah,
of
like, it made me feel uneasy.
Unhinged. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that is our talk on our take immediately after watching, for the first time, Rebel Without a Cause.